First of all, let me say, I went to Iowa, which is, as you know, was the first state held caucuses, and I said I didn't support ethanol subsidies. And I said that because I thought that they distort the market. I think that ethanol is a good thing for us to have as alternate fuel, but I also worried about some of the effects that you have seen now. I went to South Carolina, and I said the old textile mills aren't coming back, but the new jobs are coming here. There's a Michelin plant, there's a BMW plant, there's all kinds of businesses coming and locating in a state where they say they will train the workers for new businesses that come. I went to Michigan and I said the old automotive jobs aren't coming back. But I also said that Detroit was capable of the best innovative and technological advances to meet the new challenges of our dependence on foreign oil. By the way, could I mention to you in a little straight talk, you might be interested in, I lost Iowa, I lost Michigan, I won in South Carolina. So I bat .333, which is not bad in baseball, but not great in primaries. So, and I'm telling the American people some straight talk now about energy. We're going to have to do some tough things. We're going to have to do some really tough things in America. But we will be far better off along the way, and we would be proud that the United States again led in innovation and technology to eliminate not only our dependence on foreign oil, but greenhouse gases, and also we have taken much better care of our nation's security. So I have taken positions throughout my career that I thought were best, and sometimes Republicans didn't like it, and sometimes Democrats didn't like it, and sometimes both didn't like it. I guess one of the things that I would have to tell you today is that I'm confident that we are in a long struggle with radical Islamic extremism, and I believe that it's going to require a lot of sacrifice, a lot of service, but I also believe that we can surmount this challenge. And when I meet the young men and women who are serving in the military and have served this country, any doubts that I might have about the future of this country quickly are resolved. I hope that that responds. I'll be glad to have a follow-up if you'd like.
No, that's good.
That's okay. A grudging approval. Yeah, yes, sir.
Thank you very much for coming. If you become president and you have a chance, only one chance, would you overturn anything that the Supreme Court has recently done?
I can't. As President of the United States, as you know, I cannot overturn anything. But I thought this last decision that they just made about extending the rights of an American citizen to enemy combatants who have done evil things and who, many of whom, if they are freed today, would go back and do more bad things. We had 30 people who were released from Guantanamo who came back and fought. One of them was a suicide bomber recently in Iraq. So I see no rationale behind extending the rights of habeas corpus to enemy combatants. We had passed laws, the Detainee Detreatment Act and Military Commissions Act, that we thought laid out a proper plan. And by the way, I oppose torture. I've opposed it all along, and I will never, as President of the United States, allow someone to be tortured who is in our custody. So that's a decision that I strongly disagree with, and I hope that we can act legislatively at least to modify or channel some of what seems to be basically extending the same rights and privilege of citizenship to enemy combatants who want to do very bad things to America. And there are many ramifications of this decision which worry me a great deal. Yes, ma'am.
Many presidents in the past have used the bully pulpit very effectively. I'm thinking of Teddy Roosevelt and FDR and his fireside chats. I noticed that the last time I remember feeling like I knew my president was with Ronald Reagan. And it was because he talked to us frequently. Would you do that?
Yes. And I would go on television all the time to describe people the situation in Iraq and Afghanistan, even if nobody watched. Even if nobody watched. I would have a map, and I would say, here's what happened since in the last week or 2 weeks since I talked to you last. Young Americans are in harm's way. Americans should know exactly what they're doing and what they're facing, and I wouldn't, by the way, tell them what I think they want to hear. I think I'd tell them what they should hear. I would also have a press conference, hopefully once a week, if not once every 2 weeks. Press conferences are tough, and yet they are a way of people answering the questions that are necessary to be asked. Now, I dislike the media intensely, as you know, but the point is that they play a very vital role, and the President of the United States should go before the media. I also, by the way, have kicked around an idea which has been laughed at and kind of scoffed at, but you know the British have this thing called question time. I don't know if you've ever seen it on C-SPAN, where the Prime Minister stands before the parliamentarians and somebody pops up and says something, and it's kind of fun to watch. I've watched it a lot, and by the way, nobody was better at it that I've seen than Prime Minister Tony Blair was. He was really excellent at it. But if I could arrange some kind of a venue where I could have a group of members of Congress, it would be impossible with 535, obviously, but if you could have a venue where there's a group of members of Congress, both sides, you know. The guys that are on my side stand up and tell me how great I am, but there'd be others that would have some very tough questions to ask. I'd like to see that, because I think there's got to be more involvement at both ends of Pennsylvania Avenue. We've got to work together. We are not working together. We are gridlocked. We're not working for the American people. We're putting our party first. And I think that kind of thing is something I'd like to try to devise some kind of way of doing that. And again, it's been scoffed at, and people say, oh, it would never work. I'd like to see if it would work. But I commit to briefing the American people on conflicts that we're in, and I commit to having press conferences once a week or once every 2 weeks, depending on, you know, if I'm on foreign travel or something like that, but on a very regular basis. I think that that's one of the most important ways to communicate with the American people is through the press conference. Yes. We out of time. Yeah. Could I just do one more here? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Senator McCain. I think Minnesota Governor Tim Pawlenty would make an excellent vice president. What do you think? What are his chances?
I knew we should have stopped. This meeting is adjourned. I believe that Governor Pawlenty is the next and new generation of leadership in the Republican Party in America. He has proved that by not only his service to the state of Minnesota and its citizens, but also the fact that he was reelected in a very tough year for our party, as you know. I wouldn't like to speculate on who the vice presidential candidates are, but I know he has a place in the future of this country as well as our Republican Party. And the first one is most important. And finally, could I just remind you that the Vice President of the United States really only has two duties. One is to, in the case of a tie vote in the Senate, the Vice President goes to the floor of the Senate and casts the tie-breaking vote. The other duty is to inquire daily as to the health of the President. So I will be looking very carefully at that priorities. Thank you very much. Thank you all for being here. Thank you. I won't let you down, and I'll put my country first. Thank you again.